Hello again, everyone. So our next guest speaker is Dr. S. Dwight Lyons. Dr. Lyons has practiced general and oncological surgery on Maui for the past 22 years. His educational background consists of Harvard College, Stanford University Medical School, surgical training at Johns Hopkins Hospital and Detroit Medical Center. His academic appointments include being the assistant clinical professor of surgery for the years between the years 2000 and 2010. His community service appointments consist of being the director of trauma for Maui County and a board member for NPAC, which stands for Nutrition and Physical Activity Coalition for Maui County. Please help me welcome Dr. Lyons. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. I think this is being sponsored by an organization I belong to, NPAC, but I did this last year and I had fun. I am a surgeon, which to me means that I'm going to have to establish some credibility with you all because I don't think I'll mention one word about surgery during this whole presentation. It's because as a surgeon and dealing with the health problems that come through the pipe, I see that lifestyle having a much bigger role in the future than surgery in solving the problems that are facing this country. So what I'm going to go through fairly rapidly, this will be kind of quick because this presentation was originally supposed to be done when I had a little bit more time to make it. I had to cancel because of a surgical emergency, which is a risk of having surgeons do anything, but I think I'll be able to get through this. So if I speed up and you don't see the slides, it's because I don't think that they're important, right? What I'm going to go through is lifestyle interventions and how they impact some of the big things in health. I'm going to talk about diet, weight management, physical activity. Notice there's not a word about surgery on the whole thing. I already mentioned that I think you'll see that I'm credible at the end of this talk. I'm going to go through some mortality statistics by cause over the last 10 years. I'm going to look at some cancer statistics, which is one of my big interests. 60% of my practice is both breast and colon cancer. I'm going to look at the U.S. diet. I know we've already had a presentation by that, and I'm not going to get into nearly as much detail as the dietitian. I'm just going to talk about some general ideas. I'm going to look at obesity statistics, sedentary lifestyle statistics, and then I think this is where I think I'll slow down during this part because I just want to emphasize how important the lifestyle changes can be to overcoming a lot of health issues, more powerful than a lot of medicines we use, more powerful than some of the surgical procedures we do. One of the things that got me into this, when I went to medical school, certainly in surgical training, we got no information on diet, exercise, or how that might contribute to health. It was only after 10 or 15 years of practice and only after I started seeing the National Comprehensive Cancer Network start specifically recommending that everyone involved in cancer start emphasizing lifestyle as part of the strategy for managing cancer. And so the first time I saw that, and I saw, are you mistakenly sending this to me? I'm a surgeon. I like to do surgery. I operate in the operating room. You mean you want me to actually discuss lifestyle with my cancer patients? And the answer to that was yes. And the reason for that is because lifestyle interventions are powerful in dealing with both prevention of cancer and surviving cancer. I'm going to start with some mortality statistics. This compares 1950 to 2004, the leading causes of death in the country. Heart disease was by far the leading cause in 1950. It's come down dramatically since 2004, thanks to all the things that have been done. The second most common cause of death in the country is cancer. Look at the difference and compare it to heart disease versus cancer. There's been barely a blip. And and those of you who are old enough to remember, I think it was President Nixon in the 70s declared a war on cancer. And this is the result of our This is a result of our war. We haven't made very much progress, and I think that's because we failed to include lifestyle in that war. I looked at causes of death in the country, heart disease, I looked at cancer, but when you actually get to the root cause of those things, heart disease, cancer, the root cause is very, very lifestyle related. The actual cause of death, when looked at in 1990, and getting back to the root cause, is tobacco, diet and activity, or the wrong diet and not enough activity, alcohol, and everything else is really quite far down. If we dealt with these two things significantly, we could change the mortality picture quite a bit. These are cancer types. Again, the major causes of cancer death, lung cancer, colorectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate. The red line represents deaths in 2009. Most people are still dying of lung cancer, second colorectal cancer, third breast cancer. But again, if you look behind the root cause, very similar to the causes of all deaths, very lifestyle related, tobacco, adult diet and obesity, and a sedentary lifestyle. And just look how those numbers compare to almost everything else: environmental pollution, ionizing radiation, medical procedures, and medical errors. Those things occur, but they're swamped by the significance of diet, lack of exercise, and lifestyle issues. In 2005, this statement came out, and this is significant. The Institute of Medicine, smart guys in medicine, said that in the 20th century, all that we're doing with healthcare, all the dollars that we're putting into healthcare, could be swamped if we do not deal with the morbidity and mortality associated with people eating too much of the wrong thing and moving too little. So these are people who give prescriptions, do surgery, provide radiation therapy. 2005, they said, this won't touch what we need to do if we don't get to lifestyle issues, if we do not get to diet, exercise, and behavior, things that happen before people come to the clinics. The Surgeon General, these things, I'm putting these things on the screen to emphasize them. They've been in the newspapers for a long time. This is a pretty dramatic statement from the Surgeon General a few years ago that says that the standard American diet causes about 2/3 of the deaths from chronic disease. I mean, if you put that on the front page of the newspaper, why aren't people going, my God, that's horrible. What do we need to do about it? It just kind of doesn't get through. It doesn't get through the usual processes by which we think healthcare should be given. Hippocrates a long time ago, 400 BC, said, if we gave each individual the right amount of nutrition, Hippocrates is the father of medicine, if we gave each person the right amount of nourishment, exercise, it would do wonders to promote health. Nothing is really new in the world. Okay, so a pregnant pause. Let's just look at that. We're not talking about surgery, radiation therapy. We're not talking about medicines. We're not talking about prescriptions. We're talking about lifestyle things, changing all of that. So maybe we should think about changing the way we deliver healthcare, right? And what should those changes incorporate? Wellness, really. Trying to avoid disease, not treat it once it's found. And in order to do that, it means managing lifestyle and behavior and being proactive about the whole process, as opposed to reactive. What I mean by reactive is you wait here, you do nothing about your health, nothing about your health. You go see your doctor once a year, they do a bunch of tests, they find something, and then treat it, as opposed to thinking about it daily in your lifestyle and saying, if I do this, I'll be less likely to have a problem when I go to my doctor. So the lifestyle elements that I'm going to talk about are diet, weight management, and adequate movement. I'm not going to call it exercise because exercise is too connotation laden. It sounds like something that's bad. I'm just talking about movement. I'm just talking about getting up and moving. And I think I can make the case that we got a lot of room to work before we even get to exercise levels, right? If you analyze the average American diet, it's heavy loaded. These are calories on this side, and this is what it is. Heavily loaded, processed foods, fats, refined flour, a lot of meat, very few calories from fruits and vegetables. And focus on that for a while, because I think that the fruit and vegetable thing is probably one of the easiest ways to make some changes. So the analysis is that it's high in saturated fats, low in fresh fruits and vegetables, and there's a lot of salt there. This is what it looks like if you make a diagram of it. Processed foods, dairy and animal fats, and very few fruits and vegetables. Okay, talk a little bit about fast foods, just to make people aware of what's happening, right? Not to say anything about it. The expenditures for fast foods in the country from 1970 to 2000, over a 30-year period, went from $6 billion to $110 billion. $110 billion is more than we spend as a country on college, books, personal computers, and new cars. Fast food, a lot of it being consumed, right? 40% of the food dollars, 40% of the food dollars in the American society go to foods that could be classified as fast foods. In comparison, I want to make this point again, 15% on fresh fruits and vegetables. Quite a difference, quite a difference. This has something to do with it, right? The largest fast food chain spends $650 million a year on advertising. Comparatively, the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, spends only $12 million to promote healthy lifestyle. 12 million versus 650 million. So again, just something to think about, raising awareness, right? Sweet tooth, average American eats about 150 pounds a year of sugar. Soft drinks is a big source of that. 52 gallons per year per person. One 12-ounce can of a soft drink has about as much sugar as you need for an entire day. That means you have one can, that's how much you should have, and that doesn't include everything else. Soda drinkers consume on average, this comes out of a lot of the bariatric literature, if you drink soda, you in general have about 200 calories per day more than non-soda drinkers. And diet soda really doesn't provide a free lunch with regard to this, and this is the importance. Okay, so diet soda does not give you calories. There's still 0 calories, but what it does is it changes the way insulin in your body responds to sugar when you do get it. The insulin converts sugar when you do get it to fat much more readily if you drink soda. And then the other thing that diet soda does is diet soda is sweet. It was designed to be sweet so you don't miss sugar. So it actually sensitizes you to sugar so that you want more of it. So you drink a diet soda, and most people will, throughout the course of the day, find other ways to get that sugary taste that they want from other food. It sensitizes it. So that was not expected, that diet soda drinkers would have a similar problem. But diet soda does not let you off the hook with regard to soda drinking. I want to make that point. Portion control. Last 30 years, the average size of food portions in the country has gone up 30%. That means that if you change nothing and you follow that trend, you'll gain about 2 pounds a year if you change nothing. Weight management. Okay, this is the pattern of obesity in the country. This chart's been around, probably have seen it some other time. 1990, blue represented about 10% of the state population is being defined as overweight or obese. This is 2008. Orange means that's up to 25 to 30%. If you did a similar map of a viral epidemic, this would be very, very similar to like an epidemic of influenza or something that's just like spreading from state to state and consuming more and more of the population. That's what it looked like. It happened fast. It happened in every region, and that's why obesity and overweight is a big problem in the country and in the world. Location makes a difference. It does matter where you gain weight. If you gain weight around the belly, that's much worse than gaining it in other places. There's no question about that. There is no question about that chronic disease is associated with this, what we call visceral fat, and that if you put it on other places, it's not as bad for you. What we know in this country, in this state, and in this country is that Asians tend to put on visceral fat more quickly than in other places. So you can look not obese, look not fat, and be an Asian person and still have a problem with central obesity fat and still have diabetes, the cancer-related things, even though the BMIs and your weight doesn't even classify you as being overweight. So where you put on the fat does matter. Surgeon General recommended 30 minutes of moderate intensity activity 5 days a week. That means taking a brisk walk, mowing the lawn, bicycle. This is not hard stuff, right? So how are we doing with even these modest expectations? Only 26%, this is 2005 data, only 26% of adults achieves even those modest recommendations. 46% of adults had, almost half the population had insufficient activity, and 28% of the population was really doing nothing, sitting in chairs and that sort of thing. So Harvard School of Public Health has made a number of recommendations, and some of this is big and wordy, but the sum of that is their recommendations for diet has been to eat more plants and reduce red meat and eat more fish. Opportunities for change that comes from the Harvard School of Public Health, there are a number of diets, the DASH, the Omni diet, all of them share a similarity in that they are emphasizing more fresh fruits and vegetables, more whole grains, reducing red meats. And when you do that, you impact a whole host of things. It's not just weight, a whole host of things. Like the list that it impacts is very dramatic. Okay? And so I'm not really advocating a specific diet. I'm not giving you any details. I'm just saying vegetable-based diet is where it is. This is a 10-year study, the best, that showed that vegetable-based diets, fish as a protein and red meat being a minimal protein, leads to a 21% reduction in all causes of death, 22% reduction in heart disease, and an 18% reduction in cancer. Just diet changes. Okay? So summary of this is these results are dramatic. That means that food should not only be considered food, nourishment, it should be considered medicine if eaten in the right proportions and the right types, right? Medicine, having medicine-like effects. Exercise is medicine too. The benefits of exercise, weight control, diabetes, mood, bones, and particularly breast and colon cancer, which I deal with a lot in my practice. Let's talk a little bit about lifestyle and cancer, because people in the public care a lot about cancer. They care more about it than heart disease. They care more about it than diabetes. It's just on people's mind. Okay? That's reflected here. The percentage of Americans who rate their #1 health concern overwhelmingly say cancer, more concerning than heart attack, diabetes, or stroke. Relative risk factors for cancer. When you go to your doctor, they'll ask you, do you have a family history of this and that? And if you have a family history, they will treat you in a different way. The point of this slide is to show you that relative risk for cancer, family history has about a 5% correlation between your cancer risk. Smoking has a 6 times higher correlation with whether or not you'll get cancer. Dietary factors have a 6 times higher correlation factors with whether you'll get cancer. And exercise is as important as family history. But how many times do you go to a doctor or a cancer doctor and they ask you, what do you eat and how much do you exercise? We're not there yet as a medical community. The cancers that are specifically related to obesity, uterine, kidney, cervix, pancreas, breast, and colon. 6 times for uterus, twice as risky to get breast cancer if you're obese, and 1.5 times more in colon cancer, though. The Wall Street Journal last week came out and said that the obesity-related cancers are overwhelming the progress that we've made with early detection, radiation, and cancer therapy. So that means that the progress we were making is now starting to plateau and come back up because these cancers are starting to overwhelm the system. Let's talk a little bit about breast cancer. The only thing I want to say about this slide is that there are now over 900 studies as of 2009 that show that women can reduce their risk of developing breast cancer by low body fat, being physically active, taking no more than 1 drink a day, and breastfeeding. This is the one surgical type slide. Keep this in mind. This shows you the results of treating early breast cancer. That means stage 1 breast cancer based on nothing but weight. And what that suggests is that if you are low weight, your chance of doing well is very good. As you do nothing but increase weight, the recurrence rate and the death rate for your cancer goes up as much as 5 times by the time you reach the obesity levels. That means that all other things being equal, just the additional weight leads to higher recurrences and a lesser life span. Colon cancer is another one where we talk a lot about colonoscopy, but there's strong evidence that physical activity for colon cancer is very, very convincing as a preventative measure. Exercise in colon cancer, it prevents it primarily, it means you'll never get it, and secondarily, if you get it, it'll be better behaved. How big is the association between exercise and colon cancer? There's a 40% risk reduction in men who meet those minimum requirements, a 20% reduction in women. This is about as significant as having a colonoscopy each year. That 40% reduction is about what we claim for having an annual colonoscopy, and that is just with exercise. So these are significant numbers, right? Healthy lifestyle, the big three are weight management, diet, and physical activity. They work in collusion to make for a very, very cancer prevention type situation in people's lives. They work collaboratively to do that. Each one is important, but together they work very well to do that. This is a cartoon I hope you can remember. It says, "I'll have a half-pound double cheese bacon steer burger, please." And the guy who's selling it says, "Will you have chemotherapy with that?" Now that's an absurd association, but it does begin to make the connection between what you do every day, foods you choose, and health outcomes. It's absurd to think that one burger would do that, but a lifetime, definitely, definitely. So the prescription is, this chart is available, and I'm just going to talk about the broad package here. This is a food pyramid, but it starts with diet and exercise and weight control. It emphasizes whole grains, fruits, vegetables. It emphasizes little red meat. It emphasizes moderation in alcohol and a little bit of salt. And there are many ways to do that. Physical activity prescription, adults should accumulate 30 minutes or more of moderate intensity physical activity 5 or more days a week. This is doable. This is doable for most people. And if we do that, what would be the impact? And these are beginning to be the take-home messages. So if we are non-smoker, if we maintain our weight, if we have a vegetarian-based diet, if we moderately exercise, and we got a significant population to do that, there would be an 82% reduction in coronary artery disease. That's 82%. There would be a 92% reduction in type 2 diabetes, and there would be a 70% reduction in colon cancer. That's just with lifestyle. Okay. The point that I wanted to make here is that the health benefits of a healthy diet occur even if you don't lose weight. That means that it's not the weight loss itself, but the healthy diet itself is enough to do it. This shows the relative benefits of a diet versus medicines versus surgery. Shows that a diet has a 65% effectiveness over the other things that would be offered by physicians, and should be considered as part of that strategy. The question is a rhetorical one. Do we have a chance of addressing our health needs without addressing food and activity? We do not. This is the list of diseases that would be impacted. So our new paradigm goes back to Hippocrates to get people to eat well and exercise enough. The new prescription states that if we had a pill, food, and exercise that could offer the proven benefits of diet, proper diet, and exercise, every physician should be prescribing it. It would be considered a wonder drug. Take-home points. Eat lots of vegetables and fruit, the colors of the rainbow. Obtain most of your fat from vegetable oils and fish. Upgrade to whole grains. Drink water instead of soft drinks. Move more every day. And be mindful of what you eat and how much you move. Thank you very much.
The real challenge that we're finding with inactivity and poor nutrition is the psychological challenge of we know we need to exercise, we know we need to eat better, yet we don't.
Right.
So how do we address that? How do we get from And I know I'm going to sit in the panel here later, and I'll probably have an answer for it, but I'm throwing it to you so it makes my answer a whole lot easier.
That is a tough issue. You know that we have made progress with smoking. It took a concerted effort. It took a concerted effort by all of society to take away the coolness of smoking. So there has been progress with smoking. With the food and exercise issue, I think that having this message out there, hearing it from a lot of places is one factor. I mean, I think that hearing it from I see when I see a new cancer patient and they get that message, they are very, very motivated to make the change, right? So a life event can do it. And then I think we need to continue to work the science so that we can make these changes seem possible, doable to people. For example, with the exercise issue, like the people who might ordinarily claim that they can't do it or they've never been athletes, really the 30 minutes a day can be broken up into 10-minute intervals. That means that you can get 10 minutes before you go to work, you can get 10 minutes at lunchtime, and you can get 10 minutes when you come home. So, and you get the same benefit as if that had been continuous. So I think that sort of working with people's lifestyles will get some compliance, but this will not be easy, but it absolutely has to be done. Because we are breaking the bank, and we'll break the bank unless we get better compliance. Yeah.
Just a comment, Dr. Lyons. I think we should examine what goes on in the school system in terms of diet and exercise, because if we don't start with good living and eating habits then and develop them, then chances of catching that later on are lessened. And I know that there's an effort afoot to take a look at what's being served and to remove from the cafeterias and so forth the soda machines and so forth. And developing good habits early in life around that, I think, is really important. And I know I got the benefit of that when I was growing up. I'm not convinced that same rigor is in the school system right now. And
I agree with you. One of the things, one of the reasons even though I don't make as many meetings as I'd like, one of the reasons I like being associated with NPAC is that we talk a lot about making it easier for people to get involved in healthier things, talking about the physical environment, making streets walkable, making pathways for bicycles, so that doesn't take a lot of energy, it doesn't take a big strategy. It's an environment that's conducive to that. And so I think changing the environment is another big way. You can get behavioral changes by having an environment that's conducive to healthy lifestyle too. So it's all of these strategies coming together that I think are ultimately going to be successful. There's nothing else. We have to address it. We have to address it.